way that is. Okay, hold on a second here. Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now, I guess we're live now. So I'm going to try to see what I can do. First of all, our sponsors are www.appliedmetabolics.com. It's Jerry Branium's monthly magazine. And Planet Dearth, Dave Dearth's website. It's out and or going to be up and running for training. Karen K. Clark Photography, and Big Muscles Forever by Frank Myers, and others. Matt and I will have a couple on there too. We'll do a lot of different variations and stuff on here, and some tech stuff coming up once we get the cameras up and running. But the phone apps really don't work on it seems like on Google Hangouts. We'll find out. My nose has been itching all day long. I've got dust or something at work the other day. It was the same way I was sneezing. I usually sneeze like 3 times. But anyhow, on the subject, that was off. But this is the first time that these two have been introduced together. I'm going to have a conference call so you guys can hear it, just like we're talking. So let me call Matt first, or Jerry first. Okay, let me call Jerry first. And then what I'll do is put him on speaker. My pink phone. Hi. See if he picks up. He should. He's walking the dogs. He's an animal lover like me. This is Doug, Jerry. Doug, go. We're gonna.
Where'd you get my number, Mr.
Jerry? We're on live, and we're gonna pick up Matt in a second. I want to introduce Matt. We're gonna pick him up in a second on the phone. I want to.
You're all set to record?
Yeah, it's all recording right now. So.
Wait a minute, what are you using? What kind of thing are you using to record this?
Well, it's recording off from Google Hangouts. The phone is going to the mic, and the mic is picking it up. So
now I can hardly hear you, Doug. I can hardly hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, so I'll just get close to the phone. They'll have to see my ugly mug.
See, your voice keeps fading out. Like I can barely hear you.
Okay, how's that? Is that better?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, here we go. So I want to introduce the world to Jerry Branham. He's one of the smartest guys I know. He's the sponsor of Myers Muscle Mayhem and Go Xena News, which we'll be putting all together, come up with modern technology here in the next couple of weeks. I consider him a friend, and I look up to him. And I was the first member of his magazine, which I jumped on in a second. So, Jerry, your magazine, www.appliedmetabolics.com, is our sponsor. Awesome information in that, and you really strive to do everything you can to put out the best. Am I correct?
Right, that's correct. Right. What happened was you want to discuss the genesis of Applied Metabolics, how it all got started, and all that.
Yeah, let me grab Matt first, and I'm going to introduce you to him, and then we'll let Matt listen in.
Right.
And the thing is too is that Matt, this is the first time you guys ever met. He was at Gold's Gym Venice. He worked there. You must have saw each other. But
I probably did. In fact, I think I recall a guy who they told me was John Cena's brother. I do recall. I vaguely recall. Yeah. I think I do.
Yeah.
Let me probably spoke a couple of times.
Whoop. Shit. Hold on. 1 second. We just cut Jerry off.
Oh, my voicemail.
Oh. Let me call him back again. Hold on a second. Let me call. Jerry, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Bear with me. I put Matt on.
All right.
Hold on 1 second. Okay. Me. He better be on here. He didn't cut him off. He went on the. Come on, Matt. Pick up.
Hello. You reached my voicemail.
No, voicemail,
Your
come
call
on.
is important to me.
All right, we'll pick him up in a few seconds. Let's discuss the Genesis. Can you do that?
Yeah, but your voice is not coming in clear at all.
How's that? Is that okay?
No, it's just very low, very low.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me turn the mic up. How's that? Is that better?
A little better, yeah.
Okay, explain the Genesis, would you?
You want me to start now?
Yeah, do it now, because he's putting against the bed. I just got a message from him. He'll be in about 15 minutes.
All right, well, what happened was, Doug, my background is I wrote for bodybuilding magazines for about 32 years, Muscle and Fitness, Flex, Ironman, a couple of dozen of them,
Mm-hmm.
And when I wrote for the magazines, I was always limited because of commercial constraints. In other words, the magazines, the lifeblood of magazines is their advertising. So they can't, you can't write anything that will piss off advertisers. So, I had to hold back. Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here. I can hear you.
Okay, then, around I think it was the early 90s, there was a friend of mine who had his own newsletter. His name was Dr. Mal Pasquale. He was out of Canada, and he asked me to write for his newsletter. Now, his newsletter was dedicated to pure science related to exercise and bodybuilding and nutrition, but it was on the technical side. He was an MD, and his writing was very technical, to be honest with you. But that kind of put a little bug in my mind. I said to myself, what if there was a publication that had 100% truth, no ads, you weren't dependent or controlled by advertisers, but basically gave the 100% truthful information about exercise, nutrition, the preventative health, that type of thing. And so what happened was around 96, Mal Pasquale and I and a guy named Jim Wright, we all got together. We were supposed to do a newsletter together that was going to be published by Ironman. And I was writing for Ironman at the time. And Pete Pasquale had to back out, and Jim Wright had to back out. So I wound up writing it on my own. And it was actually very good. It was a great newsletter. It was mailed out. It wasn't digital. It was a print publication. But the problem was that it was never marketed properly. It was given a small ad in the back of the magazine, the classified section. Nobody knew it existed. So after 2 years, they pulled the plug on it, But I never forgot about that. And I said to myself, one of these days I'm gonna do it again. And the opportunity came 2 years ago when the magazine started to get really, terrible. The bodybuilding magazines started, they were hit financially because those advertisers that I mentioned earlier started to remove their ads and put them on the internet instead of the magazines. So the magazine budgets went down to shit.
Mm-hmm.
They had no money to pay writers or photographers. So, after a while, they started expecting to work for either very low pay or nothing. That was my exit because I was a professional writer. I don't work for nothing. Anyone who expects that's got to be a limit, So that's when I said to myself, okay, now it's time to start Applied Metabolics. Now September makes 2 years. That's the way it's been. And honestly, looking back, I don't look at magazines anymore. I don't really look at them, quite honestly. But on the occasion that I do, and this goes for all the magazines, they're absolutely terrible. The information is terrible. The writing is terrible. I think my publication, Applied Metabolics, is 1,000 times better than any of these magazines. 1,000 times, at least.
Oh, I agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
Because after the answer, when people subscribe, it's not that they're just getting articles on science, training, and nutrition and supplementation, all that stuff. But the thing is, I'm putting in my own experience, and that's something that can't be bought and can't be matched. Because I have over 53 years of experience and study, and I inject all my own knowledge into this newsletter also. And you can't get that anywhere. I mean, there's no PhDs. Nobody can match that. Nobody can match that. So that's a big feature of the newsletters.
What's your average time like if spending on just a basic article? What would you say? Just not an in depth.
Well, the one I'm working on the August issue now, and the one I'm working on now is basically it's a small articles gathered based on a science conference. And the thing is already like 30 pages. It's this one article, and I've been working on it for like 10 days, to be honest with you.
Wow.
That's just one article. So, I'm hoping to wrap it up either today or tomorrow and move on to the next article. But I mean, it takes about maybe a week of research, then about a week and a half of writing, and then the rest of the month is editing and straightening it out and cleaning it up. And by the time I'm finished, it's time to write, the next issue. It's like from issue to issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I like it.
you have a lot of information packed in that, and people don't understand. People don't understand, Jerry, that it's worth a lot of money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the problem today, Doug, is that people have kind of like evolved to have shorter attention spans.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people. I occasionally put videos up on YouTube, and when I first did it, my videos were averaging about an hour, and I got a couple of complaints from people saying that could I make shorter videos?
Mm-hmm.
And I did some research. I found the maximum attention span for a video is 18 minutes. After that, the people's minds fade. But some people can't even handle 18 minutes. If you go past 4 minutes, it's too much for them.
True.
I mean, believe it. So, this is an age where people, unfortunately, a lot of them don't like to read. But the problem with that is if you don't read and you don't learn on your own, you're going to continue to be ripped off and make mistakes that are going to hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to discipline yourself to read something that you can get some benefit from. Otherwise, you're going to be screwed.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Yeah. We're talking. Matt and I were talking about truth, and that it's lacking in the industry, actually, in life. We're talking about how basically, why would you set someone up for failure? You know what I'm saying? Either, Jerry, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, either like for a contest or just for basic knowledge. I mean, why? Do you agree with that? I mean, do you see that a lot? I'm
not sure what you mean by setting somebody up for failure.
Well, in other words, say if the person's training for a show and they're training for a contest, and you tell them they look great, and they don't. Yeah, and also.
That's just dishonesty. I mean, that's dishonor. You're not helping the person. But a lot of people are glad-handers, rather than tell somebody the truth, they don't want to hurt their feelings or something, so they lie, but they don't realize they're actually hurting the person because the person thinks his progress is correct. He doesn't change anything, and he winds up looking like crap at the contest because he trusted the person.
Yeah.
The true friend is the guy who takes your side and says, "Hey, Doug, listen, you got to do something for your thighs, man. They're not getting, they're not shaping up. You got to change your diet or something." That's the true friend because he's trying to really help you win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like that with people that send people to different magazines and stuff, or sends them to different websites for information. They don't understand that it's not pumping Jerry's magazine up. It is, and it's the truth, because his magazine is 100%.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, somebody who reads my Applied Metabolics,
mm-hmm.
they don't have to worry about anything being made up or bullshit or anything. It's all evidence-based. It's solid information.
Yeah.
And if something is speculation, I label it as such so they know. I don't usually write about rat and mice studies and animal studies because very often they don't apply to humans. But on the occasion I do, if I feel that a rat study does have some application to a human physiology, I will write about it, but I'll point out that, this requires more studies with humans to prove its efficacy, don't do it now. This is just something to think about,
Yeah, I mean,
Now, the difference between me and others, you go to these blog sites and the headlines will say something like 50 grams of protein shown to build bigger muscles. Then when you read the article, you realize it was completely from a rat study. So they're taking right away, they say, because 50 grams of protein help a rat, it's going to help a human exactly the same. That's bad science.
yeah,
I see this every day. I see this all the time.
yeah,
That's very poor science.
yeah,
You can't do that.
yeah. Well, that's that's just you're on the truth trail like all of us. And
Yeah.
it's just it was fed up with the BS in the industry and in life. I mean, if you can't be truthful, that's your credibility, and you can't be truthful. That's integrity. And people don't they don't have it.
Huh?
You know what I'm saying, Jerry? I love it. Jerry's eating. What are you having to eat today, Jerry?
I'm eating a cheese omelet right now.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, this has been my standard breakfast. Well, I don't eat it every day. I only eat it about twice a week now.
Wasn't that the?
I mean,
Wasn't that the? Remember that story that you told on Rick's YouTube channel about Frank Zane and the cheese when he.
Oh yeah. The thing about no, that was when I was on a zero carb diet. I was on a ketogenic diet, and
Yeah.
I was living on meat and eggs.
Uh-huh.
Zero carbs, nothing. I mean, nothing else.
Yeah.
And I after a while, I just the meat was disgusting to me. After a while, I was eating like 4 pounds of meat a day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
the only way I could eat it was to put melt a little cheese on top of it. So I kept some cheese in my refrigerator. This guy was like staying at my apartment for a couple of days. And he kept eating my cheese. And I warned him. I said, look, I don't care if you eat the cheese, but replace it.
Yeah.
And after a while, he gave me an attitude, so I just picked him up and threw him down a flight of stairs. And then Frank Zane, who was my next door neighbor,
Yeah.
he walked in without saying a word. He just walked in and handed me a plate of cheese.
Oh Jesus.
It's a true story.
Hey, no, just 100%. Let me ask you a question. How did you meet Arnold in the gym, or how did you meet him?
I actually met him at Vince's gym. What
Wow.
happened was I was training at Vince's gym way back when Arnold first got here, and Vince had told me that this guy he couldn't pronounce his last name, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was going to come. And I knew who Arnold was from the magazine. He was like the sensation. He was like 19, 20 years old. He already won the Mr. Universe twice.
Yeah.
So, I came to the gym one afternoon, and there he is. I met him, and he spoke very broken English back then.
Mm-hmm.
He had a completely different personality than he does today. He was like very unsure of himself.
Oh, really?
A different kind of guy,
Really? That's wow. So was Franco with him, or was he right behind him?
Oh no, Franco came about a year or two later.
Uh-huh.
Arnold told me by then both of us are training at Gold's Gym in Venice.
Yeah.
So Arnold said, I talked Joe Weider into bringing over my friend Franco. And I'd seen pictures of Franco in the magazines, and for some reason I thought he was as big as Arnold. And Arnold started laughing. He says, no, he's like 5'3".
Yeah.
I said, are you kidding me? I thought he was like 6'2". He says, no, he's short, but he's ripped. He says, where do you see this guy? And he showed up about a week later.
Wow. Was he broken English too at first?
Very broken. In fact, he still speaks broken English.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah,
50 years later, he still doesn't have full comprehension of the English language.
No, he was like he was in Sicily, right? Wasn't he, or something, or down?
He's from Sardinia.
Sardinia. Okay, yeah, that's on the boot at the end of the boot, right? Isn't that Sardinia?
That's right.
Yeah.
Sardinia happens to have one of the greatest concentrations of people who live over age 100 in the world. Interestingly enough.
Yeah. Well, wasn't his?
So if Franco has those genetics, he might wind up outliving everybody.
Well, I mean, he wasn't his father in the Papanayan when he was moving the car.
Yeah, that's his father, the old guy with the little hat on.
Yeah, he looked like he was up there.
He's about 200 years old.
Yeah. He looks like Yoda a little bit. Yeah.
And his mother was wearing, when they were having dinner, you could see her. She's a heavy-set woman.
Yeah.
Wearing a traditional Sardinian clothing. She had this little kind of kerchief on her head. That's his mother.
Now, do you see those two anymore at all? Do you run into them once in a while?
Who, Franco and Arnold?
Yeah.
Occasionally, I see Arnold maybe once or twice a year, very rarely. Although I heard he's been coming to Gold's Gym. He comes on weekends early in the morning, like 8 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays. But I've never run into him at Gold's because I'm not there at that time.
Yeah, you're there.
At the other end of the spectrum, I come late at night.
Yeah, you used to.
But I do occasionally run into him. Franco, I see him sometimes when they have the beach contest. He shows up.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, well,
I was never very friendly with Franco. You know, I mean, Franco is not. We just didn't hit it off. I'm much friendly with Arnold.
Yeah. Well, Arnold's got a kind of an extroverted personality compared to Franco, I would say.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. What was I going to say to you? Now, this Marius Muscle Mayhem in 2 weeks, we're going to have it up and running with the Gosina at first. And I did the legal disclaimer today, so no one gets in trouble. I mean, we're going to probably rip on a lot of people, not by name, but just by action and who they are. People can simulate who they are. You know, all the perverts and all the schmoes and all that stuff and all the people that are not truthful.
Man.
Not truthful.
You're going to talk about that stuff, huh?
We're going to talk about it. Oh, yeah, we're going to bring it out and try to get, you know, try to throw these guys right out in the hallway. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if you saw I posted a video yesterday of this woman, a female bodybuilder, where, I mean, this is the most androgynous looking woman I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there's no way. When I first saw the video, I thought it was a guy wearing a bikini top. I thought it was a joke. I started laughing. Yeah. Because it looked like a guy wearing a bikini. I mean, in pose, I'm thinking, what is this, a comedy? Yeah. And then suddenly I was horrified to realize that this was a woman. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing feminine about her at all. She has a rough face. She has a crew cut. I mean, this is.
Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, you there?
I mean,
okay.
There's a female bodybuilder that trains at Gold.
Yeah.
Who, you know, she's huge. I mean, but it's still tell by her face that she's a woman. I mean, she doesn't look. There's still a trace of femininity there. Her physique, and the neck down is pure man. Yeah. There's no resemblance to a woman at all.
Well, she's
bigger than 9 out of 10 of the guys who train there.
You must remember. Well, China just died. That was Joni Lauper. You remember her? Did you ever see her in person?
Who's that?
Joni Lauper, China, before she passed away.
Oh yeah, I saw her in person many times. In fact, I tried to find a photo. I had a column in Flex magazine. Yeah. In the early, I think it was the early '90s, where I would go, you know, like just to take a camera, and anyone I'd see at Gold, who I thought was an upcoming bodybuilder, had an interesting story, I would take a couple of shots of them and do a little article on them. Yeah. And I was introduced to her, and I think she was with her sister, if I remember correctly. And she was much smaller. Yeah. But I remember her saying something about wanting to get into pro wrestling. And she was actually a very nice person, very sweet person. You know, but I tried to find the photos. Yeah. I was never able to find it. You know, I had a couple of snapshots. I couldn't find it, but she was a very nice person.
I got a photo to send. She did the Old Orchard Beach show. She did the fitness, and she won it. And I've got a picture of her back when she started, and that was, I would say, 93 or something like that, or somewhere around that. Before she got into wrestling. Yeah, she went from New Hampshire with John Levesque, which is Triple H, to California, and then she came back out to wrestle under Killer Kowalski in Boston, where all those guys usually come from. That's where John started too.
I feel bad for her because I mean, you know, after, you know, she gained a certain amount of celebrity, and then she wound up doing porno movies. You know, I mean, to me, it's kind of sad. You know. Yeah, it's
well, that's a part of the life. I mean, I'm trying to explain to the people that don't know. I've been there. You've definitely been there. People have, you know, like Matt's been there. Karen, of course, has been there. Frank's been around it. There's a lot of sick people that are in the industry.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you know, and very much so. And people don't understand that it's not all roses. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And
well, you know what? I think you could say that about any sport or athletic activity.
Yeah.
And then you see these that kill dogs like Michael Vick, or you know, or beat up like there was a football player who beat the shit out of his wife in an elevator. Yeah. I mean, you can go on and on. You know, baseball players go crazy. I mean, you know, it's just part of the human existence. I mean, there's always people that are going to have mental mental illness, and they can also be great athletes at the same time.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I mean, it's always going to happen because the brain. If you study the brain, it's a very delicate organ, and the most amazing thing about it is that all of us aren't crazy because so many things can go wrong with the brain that it's amazing. I mean, it's just the fact that we're all able to live a quote unquote normal existence.
Yeah.
A testament just how well the brain is able to handle things,
Yeah. Well, I was talking to a person at the gym where I work out at, and I gave him a video to look at about Craig, whatchamacallit there, the one of Kelly, Craig Titus, and the Kelly Ryan story, and that was like shocked me when I saw that, I just was like, whoa, this is I met him one time. I didn't, and I can say this, he's in jail. So I don't. He's a complete dick.
Well, Craig's a funny guy because when I first met him, he was unknown. He came out here from I don't know, from the Midwest somewhere. I can't remember where.
Yeah.
Came out to compete in some show in Orange County. I met him in the gym, and I had that column I just told you about. And I looked at him. I said, "This guy looks like he has some potential."
Yeah.
So I interviewed him, and he was a really nice guy. I mean, we hit it off. I'm thinking, we actually became friends, I mean, and then, he competed in the USA a couple of years later, and he lost to Dennis, what was the name of that guy?
Newman?
A good-looking guy who won the US, Dennis, I can't
Dennis
remember.
Dennis Newman?
Huh?
Dennis Newman.
Dennis Newman.
Yeah.
He lost to Dennis Newman, and I was there to cover the contest for Muscle and Fitness. This was in New Orleans, I remember.
Yeah.
And Craig Titus threw a fit. I mean, when he lost, he started throwing chairs and breaking things. And I shouldn't have done this, but I went up to him and I asked, I said, Craig, do you want to talk about, why you're unhappy with this placing? And he said, get the fuck out of my face. And he started yelling at me.
Holy
smokes. I said to him very quietly, I said, Craig, I'm just trying to help you. I said, but if that's the way you want it, okay. And I walked away from him,
Yeah.
You, the next day when I saw him in the gym, about 2 days later, this guy was so apologetic, and he kept apologizing to me like 20 times. And I said, hey, Craig, listen, I know that you were emotional. I didn't take it personal, but you have to understand, I was just trying to help you to get your word in so you could express what you considered an unfair decision. That's all I was trying to do.
Well, I
realize that now, Jerry. I know that you're a friend and, blah, blah, blah. But, he also, I found out later, he was selling growth hormone to guys at Gold's Gym, and it was actually insulin. I mean, that's pretty low to the guys you work out with. That's a pretty, that shows you what kind of guy he was.
Yeah. Well, he definitely.
But remember what he did, him and that, what's the name of the girl?
Kelly Ryan. Kelly Ryan? Kelly Ryan?
Kelly,
yeah.
I mean, that thing that they did was, you have to understand, was also strongly influenced by drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, they were doing a bunch of cocaine and amphetamine. They were like insane at the time.
Yeah.
And, when you do those kind of drugs, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically have lost control of your mind and your behavior.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think I would ever kill anybody. Some people don't resort to murder.
Yeah.
But things can happen. I mean, it's very dangerous.
If it's in self-defense, but that was kind of that wasn't self-defense. That was like you said, that with the cocaine and with the ecstasy and methamphetamines and Nubain and all that stuff mixed. That's
he was on
crazy cartel.
Drugs, taking people could do crazy things on that stuff,
No, I know. Well, that contest you were talking about, Dennis Newman was probably. I mean, he had great genetics, great shape. I mean, that guy actually reminded me sort of a Steve Reeves, Bob Paris kind of combination. And the thing is, he deserved to win that show. I mean, Craig's just a sore sport. If you lose, put your tail between your legs.
Honestly, I was there, and I can tell you, Dennis was a clear winner.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. Dennis was being photographed backstage after winning, right?
Yeah.
And he had a girl with him. I remember. I don't know who this girl was. I don't know whether she was his wife or his girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
But for some reason, she was angry at him, and while he was being photographed, remember, there's a bunch of people watching this, right?
Yeah.
Backstage, this girl is cursing at him, calling him every name in the book.
Wow.
You you motherfucker, you fucking
Beep, beep.
bastard. She's calling him everything you could think of.
Yeah.
And I mean, Dennis Newman, you could see his face. He was so embarrassed, but he didn't react. He didn't say anything back to him. And all of us are looking at each other thinking, what is this woman's problem, man?
Huh.
What did she do? What did Dennis do? You know, I never did find out, but I never saw anything like that.
That happens to be backstage, guys. What Jerry was talking about is when they do picks and stuff. For those of you who don't know, when you're doing shows and stuff, they do picks backstage, and you know, you're right in contest shape, and you're going to take great picks. And he's saying that there's a lot of weirdos, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on backstage, and people don't know, fights, and like you said, chairs breaking and trophies breaking, and you know, and you know,
I've seen it.
Yeah, you've
seen a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember covering the Grand Prix shows in Europe in the '90s, and I remember I was backstage.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any dressing rooms at this particular auditorium, and the guys in the contest, some of the not the Americans, the European guys. I mean, it was women. The guys' wives were backstage, or a bunch of women. These guys just stripped completely naked, and you know, to change it to their street clothes. And the thing that I'll always forget, I'll always remember for some reason. I just happened to be standing there noticing this. Was the way these women, these guys, not the American, some of these women were married to the American guys. They were staring at these guys' crotches. I mean, just like, you know, like you see in the movies when the male strippers dance around in front of the women. Yeah. That's what it reminded me. They were just staring at these guys' crotches. It's amazing. I mean, they were just the way they were just. Oh, man, I still remember that.
I think I told you this story, but when I did the New England's, it was with Casito, you know, Chris. And we went down, and I did the weigh-in. The weigh-in was right on in Berkeley Performing Arts Center, so it was right on stage. And so I was weighing in, and Berman, which was a total dick, he's passed away too. When I became NPC district chairman, me and him butted heads pretty hard. I almost hauled him over a table one time and beat him, and because he's a total jerk. But he's like, "You got to take off your clothes." I was like, "Why can't I weigh in? I'm going to make weight in. Well, you need it perfect." And I was like, going, I don't have my trunks on. Let me put my trunks on underneath my sweats. He goes, no, you got to do it right now. You're going to be expelled. You're going to be disqualified. Oh yeah. I go, so you actually want me to take my sweats off with about 150 people in the audience during pre-prejudging? I said, okay. Whipped it down totally buck-ass naked and got up on the scale. Now,
that's nuts.
Oh, I was pissed. And I don't care. I mean, it's one of the things I had to do. And everybody's staring at me, and yeah, exactly the same thing. And I was like, going, oh, shit. Here we go. So, you know, after I was like, you know something? I said, you're a complete dick. You know that? And
he was doing it to embarrass you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We didn't see eye to eye. You know, he hated me. We didn't see eye to eye. He hated me because I was with Chris, and because, you know, we're good friends, and he helped me out and get me ready for a show. And I looked, I should have placed a couple high. I should have won. But, yeah, he was a dick. We didn't see eye to eye, and he just like control freak, you know.
Well, you know, the funny thing, you know, it's a funny thing about that, you know, because I mean, you know, I mean, it's the embarrassment that would occur in a situation like that.
Yeah.
Is more with the audience than with the person, you know. What I'm saying? Because my attitude on that is, over the years I've come to realize, I said, what is the big deal about the human body where people are so shocked at nudity? Everybody has the same organs.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everyone should walk around naked.
Yeah.
But I mean, people are so aghast.
Yeah.
If somebody, you know, is naked, like it's a horrible crime, and the person's a degenerate and all that. And you know, unless you're like beaten off in the middle of the street, and that's different. I don't see, you know. I guess I first started to think about this was many years ago. Me and a couple of friends, as a lark, we went to a nude beach out here, and at first I was embarrassed. You know, I was like everybody else. I said, I'm not going to walk around naked in front of street. Are you kidding me? Yeah. And I was competing in those days. I was in really good shape and everything. Right?
Yeah.
But I still didn't want to take my clothes off.
Yeah.
So me and these other two guys were sitting on this beach, and everybody was naked except us. Three guys sitting on the beach with clothes on. And one of my friends turned to me and said, you know, Jerry, he says, we're the ones that look like perverts. I said, because we're sitting here where everyone's naked.
Yeah.
So I said, you know, you're right. And we stripped down.
Yeah.
And honestly, after about 5 minutes, I didn't even think about it because if everybody's naked, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
Nobody stares at they stared at me a little bit because I had these deep abs and I had I was shredded.
Yeah.
Most of the people at the beach were fat slobs, so I stood out like a sore thumb.
Well, didn't Arnold do that one time or something like that?
I went to a nude beach in Venice with Arnold. Bill Grant and Arnold.
Oh my God.
In early 70s.
Yeah.
Venice Beach, right near Gold's Gym. It went nude for about half a year. It started with some gay people, and then it spread to everybody. Everyone was going down to the beach and stripping all their clothes off. We're all looking at the original Gold, and Arnold says to me and Grant, he says, "Hey, let's go down to the beach."
Yeah.
I said, "You mean the nude? You want to go down to the nude beach, Arnold?" He says, "Yeah." So Grant and I, we all went down there, and we put a blanket down, and Arnold immediately strips naked. Remember, he's from Europe. It's no big deal to him.
No.
European people have a different attitude toward it. They're like me. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah.
To them, it's ridiculous to be embarrassed about nudity. They think it's absurd. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But so Arnold stripped right down.
Yeah.
Sure enough, Brand and I was shy. We both had contests coming up, and we both had posing trunks underneath the clothes, the sweat clothes.
Yeah.
So we stripped down to the posing trunks, but Arnold went naked.
Yeah.
And some guy, and it was the same deal. Arnold was, remember, this is 74. Think about this.
Yeah.
Remember how he looked at the 74 Olympia? He was in the best shape of his life.
Oh, yeah.
This was 2 weeks before that show. Arnold looked like an alien from outer space compared to these people.
Oh, yeah.
He looked so much better than the people on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Sure enough, I look down a couple of yards away. There's a guy with a camera who's trying to sneak a picture of Arnold. Not because Arnold's famous. He was unknown back then.
Yeah.
It's his body that the guy couldn't believe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the guy was lying with his wife, and he had a bathing suit on. He wasn't naked. Both of them had clothes on. They had bathing suits on. I nudged Arnold. I said, Arnold was like starting to fall asleep. So I nudged him, and I said, "Hey, Arnold, there's a guy over there trying to take a picture of you." So Arnold, he says, "Where?" I said, "Right over there." So Arnold gets up completely naked. He walks up. There was the famous walk from the Terminator. He walks right in. He stands over the guy and his wife. They're under him on the blanket.
Yeah.
Everything's dangling out on Arnold because you can picture this.
Yeah.
And he says to the guy, "If you take any more photos, I'm going to have to take the film and destroy the camera."
Uh-huh.
The guy was so scared, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. So then Arnold comes back, sits next to me, and two times by, and Arnold turns to me and he says, "This is a good thing, Barry." I said, "What's that, Arnold?" He said, "It's great that they have it like this where people are naked, so guys who never got laid could see what a naked woman looks like." That's word. Forget it. You got to admit the logic. The logic was impeccable.
Oh.
Because back then even the girly magazines weren't showing complete nudity.
Oh, it's true.
This was the only place where you could see naked women.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's got a sense of humor, huh?
I always did.
Oh, he's dead.
Always had a great sense of humor. Always a funny guy.
That's awesome.
Some of his humor, you probably heard the story. He tends to be a little cruel sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
He would, he'd tell guys to pour motor oil over himself when they, to pose and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
He had a twisted sense of humor.
But though he,
he was pretty funny.
But though he also has a sense of remorse to it. I mean, he gives Bill Pettis. You know Bill Pettis, of course, right?
Yeah.
I had a crotch story of him when the first time I was at Gold's Gym in the morning. I went and I said, I'm going to go down to the beach, the boardwalk. So I walk out there and I go down by the boardwalk. I forget which one. There used to be one that sold like prints on the right hand side, the first store.
Right, yeah.
Well, I started tying my shoe and I picked my head up and right into friggin' Bill Pettis's crotch. He said, hey! I used to bodybuild. He had his picture that he had. And he showed me, and I was like, so I gave him like $10 to hey, here's some money, go ahead, But Arnold, I guess, gives him money every time he sees him.
Well, for many years.
Yeah.
Arnold he's pretty nice to the guys that he knew back then. And I mean, when he sees me, he's always very friendly. He's always, asking me how I'm doing and all that stuff. I mean,
yeah.
He used to be sarcastic when he was younger, but it seems to be gone now.
Yeah. Well,
maybe because he was the governor of California. He became very politically correct. He's not sarcastic with anyone anymore.
Well, the thing is too, Jerry, is that the people that don't know, you've been around these people. I've seen them. I've been around them, but not like you. I mean, you know them.
I trained and I ate with Arnold. I've been over his place. I know him pretty well.
Yeah, and the thing is that I'm bored and stuff, and the thing is that with AppliedMetabolics.com, that's the truth, and he's trying to tell you guys the real truth.
Whenever it's fitting, I even put a couple of stories about Arnold in the newsletter.
Yeah.
I talk about some of the things he did in the training and the diet, all that.
Yeah.
A lot of people like that information of how the guys trained back then.
Well,
and I include that in the newsletter too. I mean, there's something in there for everybody. Really, seriously. And it's if I say so myself, it's very simply written. Even the technical stuff, I don't try and impress anybody how smart I am. Everything is readable at a 6th grade reading level.
Yeah.
In other words, like if you know how to read, you'll understand the newsletter.
Well, before we go, because I know Jerry has to go and stuff. Jerry, you're going to be back with us, right? On when we get the cameras up and running on this, correct?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Not. You've insulted me, and I'm never coming back.
So I want to. I want to say. I'll be back. I want to say this. This Myers Muscle Mayhem and Gozina News will be dedicated to Joe DeAngelis. And that's
Joe, good man.
That's one of our mutual friends, and we ran in circles that cross correlated. Me and Joe did, but never really met. I saw him at Gold's, and he saw me. He remembered that he saw me, because I was there for about close to a year, off and on, and the thing is that we became really good friends on the phone. And Jerry used to see Joe each and every night. Joe won the Mr. America and Mr. Universe. Joe was a world-class bodybuilder, and it was I think a pro in the NABA, but he could have been a pro anywhere. I mean, he's phenomenal physique. One of the strongest. Would you say he's one of the top 5 strongest bodybuilders ever walked the earth? Yeah. Lou Ferrigno said that too. The thing is that for Lou to say that, and Lou being on the strongest man in the world competition, you got to know that that's true. And Matt used to train with Joe. So once we get the 3-way call, just on me, you, and Matt this week, we'll talk if we can, and just talk to get to know each other. Then we'll do the show, the Gozina, and then news, and then we'll do Myers Muscle Mayhem. But the thing of them, and the thing is, Joe used to call me every night around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we used to talk for hours, and like you and I could talk for the same thing.
The more you mention this guy Matt Cena, the more I think I did talk to him.
You probably have.
He worked at Gold.
Yeah.
He worked at Gold.
Pro Shop.
I vaguely remember a guy. Does he look a little like John Cena's brother?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Okay, because I'm mentally picturing a guy who kind of resembled John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
We used to talk to all the time.
Yeah,
I think I know this guy.
Well, the thing is, he worked in the Pro Shop, so you probably ran into him.
I'm 90% sure I spoke to him.
Yeah, and the thing is with Jerry speaks to thousands of people, and it's not an insult like that. I mean, you're picking it up. See, Joe did the same thing, but he used to work out with Joe, and the thing is, you used to talk to Joe late night at Gold's, right? You used to work out there together.
That's correct.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, and he said one time you got out in the parking lot. This is before he passed away. That you got out of the parking lot, you talked for like 3 hours. Time like passed. It's sort of like we talked.
That's right. We talked for a while. We took the gym clothes. We took for another 2-3 hours afterwards.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too is that I was the last person when he called me. Renal kidney failure, and he slipped on a rolling pot. Huh?
You see the thing with him.
Yeah.
Was that he was an intelligent guy and he could carry on a conversation, Joe.
Well,
a lot of these guys, I heard an interview. This guy Brock, what's his name? Brock, the fighter.
Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar.
The other night.
Brock Lesnar.
What's his last name?
Lesnar. Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Lesnar.
Yeah.
I watched an interview he gave right before the fight. A day or two before the fight. He did a question answer, and this guy. I'm not saying he's not a great athlete, but this guy couldn't answer any simple questions. He had nothing to say. He couldn't put 2 sentences together.
Did he win that fight?
And the difference, you get a guy like Joe.
Yeah.
Joe was intellectual.
Oh,
I mean, you could talk about on anything with the guy. You can carry on a full conversation.
Well, people,
I like that.
well, people. Let me tell the people this. Jerry has a saying. He doesn't talk to unintelligent people. Correct?
Say again.
You don't talk to unintelligent people.
I don't have the patience, honestly, seriously. Years ago, I did, but I don't anymore. If I suspect somebody's a moron, I got to exit because they annoy me. I just can't handle it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like wasting your breath. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like trying to talk. I mean, would you attempt to carry on a conversation with a 6-month-old baby? I mean, that's what I feel like I'm doing with these people.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they just don't understand. There's nothing that. They can't talk about anything you say. They don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like you're talking in a different language. It's frustrating.
Well, the thing is too is that I really appreciate that when you said that to me. Doug, you're intelligent. I don't talk to unintelligent people.
No, it's true. I mean, it even extends to women.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to tell you, I was like most young guys. When I was a young guy, all I cared about was a woman's physical appearance.
Mm-hmm.
If she was a moron, who cares?
Yeah.
As long as she looked good, that was enough for me. It's funny how you evolve over the years. Where now I have met very beautiful women. Let's say the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But now I'm not saying this applies to all of them. But a certain percentage of them, they can't carry on a conversation either. They're just they've depended on their looks so much.
Yeah.
They've never developed any aspect of their personality, and I find them just utterly boring after about a minute.
Yeah.
You just want to walk away from them. There's nothing to say. And I'm not saying they're not sexually attractive.
Yeah.
But I hate to say this. I know it's going to sound very chauvinistic. That's all they're good for.
Yeah, I hear you.
I like women to be my friends also.
Yeah.
I like to hear a woman's side of the story. I respect women. I want a woman's opinion. And if she can't give me that opinion, what's the point?
True.
I mean,
true.
I hate to being honest here,
True. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to let Jerry go. And I'm going to hold on for a second. I got Frank on the line. I'm going to call him and tell him that him and Karen are going to do a thing together this coming week, and then we're going to get it all together. Jerry, I just want to thank you. You're a good person, a good friend, a good partner, and I appreciate everything you've done. Let me mention this: www.appliedmetabolics.com is a major sponsor. Then we have Planet Dearth and Karen K. Clark Photography and Big Muscles Forever. But that's Jerry's dogs in the background. He's a dog lover like me, an animal lover. Yeah. Oh yeah. But what I was going to say, it's good to have you. Good to have you aboard. And the thing is, that we're going to do a lot more in depth talking about nutrition and training and what you think, and then give us some feed on your articles and what you got upcoming and stuff. And then I want people to know that you can go listen, and it's very inexpensive. Jerry, what's the price on it?
$10 a month, 33 cents a day.
33 cents a day.
If you buy the LA Times out here, the LA Times costs you $2 an issue. $2 a day it costs you.
Yep.
And there's like nothing to read in there, honestly. I mean, in my newsletter, and I'm making a promise here.
Yeah.
Every issue, I guarantee, I don't care what the extent of your knowledge, every issue that you read, I promise you will learn something you didn't know. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Well, this is true, guys. And the thing is that we're lucky to have Jerry aboard, and Jerry's got a wealth of knowledge. That's why they call him the brain. And the thing is that it's not BS. I mean, he's, in my opinion, an utter genius. I mean, he's not borderline. He's a genius. And the thing is that, hey, if I need help on a contest, I know who to call, right?
Yeah.
One of those. Jerry, I want to thank you, and I'll be talking to you this week, okay?
Okay, Doug. Good talking.
God bless you. Always good talking to you, sir.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to call Frank now. Frank called in, and Matt had to take care of his kids, but you heard Matt. We're going to get Karen on the line. Here's Frank. The Pope. The Pope signal is out.
Hello?
Frank, you're live on Go Xena News. Just ready for
Yes, sir.
Myers Muscle Mayhem coming up in 2 weeks. We're going to have a thing with you and Karen on. We're going to do a speakerphone thing for like Wednesday, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay. How are you doing?
Good, pretty good. I went to the casino, won some money. Working on a bodybuilding article right now. So,
you working on the big arms article that I wrote for you, article for you on that, a little page?
yeah, that's going to be part of it. Yep, yep.
I guess those 20-inch guns.
The formats change a little bit. There's going to be more books.
Yeah.
Shorter,
Yeah.
shorter books.
You got to ask Matt.
Very informative.
You got to ask Matt. Matt said, I think Matt will do a little article for you, boost it up a little bit on the big arms.
Okay, all right.
And you know, that I got to have my 20-inch guns in there, so got to put that in there, right?
Yeah, I'll put it in there. I'm writing about Dave Dupree now. He's got 20-inch arms.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the more the merrier. Yeah, I'll put it in there.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, too, is I'm glad to have you aboard, Frank. This is going to be your show. I'm going to hand it off to you. And in a couple weeks, I'm going to hand it right to you and Karen. And we'll just do the Gold Xena news ahead of time. We'll just, you know, stories on different organizations and contests. And we'll be able to put videos up when we're doing it on here and put articles and stuff up so people could see it on YouTube. And we're going to have the Myers Muscle Mayhem and Go Xena News YouTube channel this week. I'm going to switch it over. So we'll go right to that. So we'll have a good publication with BuildersandLifters.com, the Muscle Power Builders Lifters, which Frank and I started, which is the largest group in the world on Facebook. So I got to do some renovation on that. Matt's going to be one of the moderators. We're going to get back on there and start to be doing stuff and start advertising more on that and start putting more articles and stuff on it. So it's time.
And it's time. We really got to get the Golden Era.
Up and running.
Jumping, because it seemed like as we didn't quite cover our page like we used to.
Yeah.
It's kind of dying out. The Golden Era.
Well, it's not. We'll revive it.
Is dying out, and we have to rekindle it.
Yeah, we'll rekindle it this week. I'll be on tomorrow, and I'll start working on that and start posting and start putting stuff up there and stuff like that. But it's like 15 billion things going at once. But I'm gonna stop this broadcast. This is the Pope, and what he says goes, and he gives us a blessing. So he'll be on I think Wednesday. We're gonna try to, and we're gonna do another Go Xena, because I'm gonna be half of Go Xena. That is for you, and then talk about Myers Muscle Mayhem, what we're gonna do, and who we're gonna interview and stuff. And Frank, I want to thank you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That works real well. It's going to be a good team that we got here.
Oh, it's a real good team, and we're going to do some coverage of some contests, and we'll do some live streaming. We're going to work on I got to get the computer up and running finally. Everything's falling together. We get the shop over, and we're going to have everything. We're going to have maybe a grand opening sometime here soon once we get it up and running, so we can see got all the monitors, flat screens, and stuff going up, which is cool.
Yeah, we can build the best show out there because we got a team and a good team.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I want to thank you, and we'll say we'll be talking. Okay.
All right.
God bless you, Pope.
Thanks for the call.
Okay. Bye. All right. So I got to sign off. That's been long enough. But that was Jerry Branham and Frank Myers. A man had to take care of his kids. He's a family man. But I just want to let you know that truth is there. As you saw, as you heard, heard. Jerry's not a bullshit artist. Excuse my language, but he's not, and neither is Frank. Neither am I. You're gonna get what you see, and you're gonna get what you tell what we tell you. And the thing is that's the way it should be in life. You shouldn't hold back, play games and stuff like that. That just hurts people in life, in any aspect in life. And we're all there for you. This is going to be a good thing. We're going to explode with knowledge and with truth. And I want to say it just started today. God bless you. I got to sign off, and I'll upload it to YouTube. Thank you.